Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Parisi. Today what we are going to be doing for our math lesson is we are going to be looking at changing improper fractions into mixed numbers. But we are going to be using a different strategy today, different than just the number bond, and I'll show you why. Okay, so what you're going to need today is lesson 24 problem set and a pencil. We're going to start with number 1B, so you guys can cross out 1A. And we're going to be doing this a little different than how 1A shows. We are not going to be using numbered lines, and we are not going to be using number bonds, okay? Today we are going to be using a divide strategy, okay? The reason why we are going to be using a divide strategy is it's just another way that we can easily turn an improper fraction into a mixed number. So let's look at 1B. We have the improper fraction of 12/5. Another way that I can change this into a mixed number instead of doing our number bond like we've been doing the last couple lessons is you can simply divide your denominator by your numerator. So you're going to take your denominator, and that's going to go on the outside of that house. That's what we used to call it in class, outside of the house for division. And you're going to take your numerator and you're going to put it inside the house. Okay? And then you are going to simply do your long division that we learned. If you remember, we had that little phrase to help us through the steps for long division. It was does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, Ronald? Okay, so these are the steps for long division. The D stands for divide. The M stands for multiply. The S stands for subtract. The C stands for check your work, just to make sure everything's correct. The B stands for bring down. And the R stands for repeat, or it can stand for remainder. Okay, so if you know you're going to need this help when you are doing your long division, copy that down so you can refer back to that for this lesson. Because you need to be able to do that long division in order to complete the lesson today. Now, a reason why you would use the divide strategy is sometimes that numerator is going to be so big. So you're not going to want to make a bunch of number bonds in order to figure out what your mixed number is. You can simply just divide in order to do that. So that's why we're learning the divide strategy, because sometimes your numerator is going to be very, very big. And it's just easier than the number bond. Okay, so now let's go back into this. We're going to divide this now. So 5 goes into 1 0 times. We're then going to go ahead and go into our multiply step. So 0 times 5 is 0. Now we're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. We're going to check our work. Everything looks good. So now we're going to bring down. So we're going to bring down the 2. And since we brought down a number, when we get to that repeat or remainder step, we need to repeat because we brought down a number. So we're going to go back up to our first step, which was divide. So 5 goes into 12 2 times without going over. We're going to multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Then we're going to subtract. Okay, 12 minus 10 is 2. Check your work. Everything looks good. Bring down. There's nothing to bring down. So then when we get to our repeat step, this is going to be our remainder because we had nothing to bring down. So we finished the long division. Now you are going to use parts of your answer in order to rewrite this as a mixed fraction. A mixed number. Okay, so whatever your answer is, which in this case is 2, that's going to be your whole number. Whatever your remainder is, that's going to become your numerator. And then your denominator stays the same, so you should still have 5 in the denominator. So what we just did here is we turned 12/5 into a mixed number, which is 2 2/5, using the division strategy. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to look at 1C next. So looking at 1C, we have 2 over 13. So we're going to do the division strategy. That denominator turns into the number outside of the house, and your numerator is the number inside the house for long division. Remember to refer back to that does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, Ronald, because that can help you go through your steps for long division. So 2 goes into 1 0 times. 0 times 2 is 0. We're going to bring down our 3, subtract, and then bring down our 3. All right, so since we brought down a number, we need to repeat. So we're going back into divide. So 2 goes into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. We're going to subtract, which is 1. Check our work. There's nothing else to bring down, so 1 is my remainder. So now that I'm done with my division, whatever my answer is going to be my whole number. My remainder becomes my new numerator, and my denominator stays the same. So in this case, it was 2. It's also always going to be the number that's on the outside of your house. So another way to write 13 halves is 6 1/2. Those are equivalent fractions written 2 different ways. One written as an improper fraction, one written as a mixed number, using that division strategy. Okay, let's go ahead and go into D, which is 15/4. So once again, that 4 is going to go on the outside of my house, and the 15 is going to go on the inside. And we're going to divide. 4 goes into 1 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to check my work, and then I'm going to bring down. Since I brought down, I need to repeat. So going back into divide, 4 goes into 15 3 times without going over. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm going to subtract and get 3. Check my work. There's nothing else to bring down, so therefore this is my remainder. Okay, so the number that's on the top of your house becomes your whole number. Whatever is your remainder becomes your numerator, and your denominator stays the same. It's still 4. And that is your answer. Okay, so remember, we use the division strategy because if we did a number bond for this, we would have to take out a lot. We would have to take out 4 over 4, then we'd have to take out 4 over 4 again, then we would have to take out 4 over 4 again, and then what would be left over is 3 over 4. Okay, and once again, you can see 1, 2, 3, which is my whole number, and then this is the fraction that's left over. But that is just a lot of work and a lot of keeping track of. So instead of doing that, when you get those bigger numerators, you can use your division strategy. Okay, if at any point this lesson's going too fast, remember you can pause the lesson, catch up on your notes, and then press play to continue the lesson. Okay, but all we're doing today is we're focusing on that division strategy. Let's go ahead and turn to page 2. Okay, looking at page 2, once again, we are not going to be doing number lines, okay, or any of these extra strategies. I just want us to master that division strategy. So cross out 2A. We're going to move into 2B. So your denominator is on the outside of the house. Your numerator goes on the inside of the house. And we are going to divide. Since we are on a new page, if you need to write down those steps for division, write them down now. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, Ronald? Okay, so this means to divide. This is to multiply. Then we subtract. Then we check our work. Then we bring down. And then we repeat if we brought down, or if we did not bring down a number, then it is our remainder. Okay, so let's start with step 1, divide. 2 goes into 9 4 times without going over. Then we're going to multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. Then let's subtract those. We get 1. Check your work. Everything looks good. So bring down. Oh, there's nothing to bring down. Since we didn't bring anything down, that means that's my remainder. So now let's take our parts and make our mixed number. The number on top of our house becomes our whole number. Okay, our remainder is our numerator, and our denominator stays the same, which is 2. So our answer here is 4 1/2. Right, let's go ahead and go into 2C. So let's set up our problem. We have our 4 on the outside and our 17 on the inside. Okay, so let's divide. 4 goes into 1 0 times. When we multiply that, we get 0. Let's subtract, and we get 1. Check our work. All looks good. You can bring down. Since we brought down a number, we're going to repeat and go back to divide. 4 goes into 17 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Let's subtract. We get 1. Check our work. There's nothing else to bring down. So now we can write our whole number. So it's going to be 4 for our whole number. 1 will be my numerator, and 4 will be my denominator. Your denominator will not change. Okay, so 17/4 is equivalent to 4 1/4. Those are both the same amount, just written in 2 different ways. One written as a mixed number, one written as an improper fraction. All right, we're going to do 3 more together. If you feel like you are catching on to this, what you can do now is when we look at 3A, B, and C, you can always pause the video, try to solve it on your own, and then press play and check my work and make sure you did it correctly if you feel confident that you've got this down, okay? So we're going to be looking at 3A. So once again, we're going to take 4 out, 9's going in the house, and we're going to divide. 4 goes into 9 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. You subtract, you get 1. There's nothing to bring down, so we are all done. This 2 becomes the whole number. 1 becomes your numerator, and 4 stays as your denominator. Okay? Remember, if you feel confident, pause the video, go ahead and try to do 3B on your own. After you're done trying it on your own, press play and check your work with mine. So 5 is going to go on the outside of our house. 17 will go on the inside. 5 goes into 1 0 times. 0 times 5 is 0. You subtract. 5 goes into 17 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. You subtract, you get 2. So your answer here is 3. Got that from there. 2 is your numerator. 5 stays as your denominator. 3 2/5. If you have any corrections, pause the video and you can make those corrections. All right, let's do one more together before we talk about the independent problems for today. We're going to put 6 on the outside, 25 on the inside. 6 goes into 2 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. So we're going to subtract and bring down. 6 goes into 5 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. Subtract, I get 1 left over. So my answer for this one is 4 1/6. Yeah, 4 1/6 right here. All right, so the biggest problem that we normally see when we teach this lesson is you guys get confused on what number is the whole number, what number is the numerator. Remember, your whole number is always your answer, which is on top. Your numerator is always your remainder, which is on bottom. And like we said before, your denominator always stays the same. Okay, so just remember, your whole number is that number on top, and you should be all set. All right, so let's talk about what you're doing today for our independent problems. I want you to turn to the exit ticket, which is the next page. On your exit ticket, I just want you to do the divide strategy, okay? So it says rename, the directions for number 1 says rename the fraction as a mixed number by decomposing it into 2 parts. Model the decomposition with a number line and number bond. So you can cross that out. We're not going to be doing a number line or a number bond here. All I simply want you to do is do the divide strategy. So on the top of your paper, just write divide strategy. I want you just practicing that divide strategy for this one. Okay, number 2, convert the fraction as a mixed number, model with a number line. You can cross that out. You are not modeling with a number line. You are just using that divide strategy. And number 3 says convert the fraction as a mixed number. Okay, so you'll be doing that once again with the divide strategy. So for your independent problem today, go ahead and circle 1, 2, and 3. You are going to be solving these 3 using that divide strategy to turn these 3 improper fractions into mixed numbers. When you are all done with this lesson, you or your parent can take a picture and email it to me, and I will check it for how you did. All right? Awesome job, guys. I miss you so much, and good luck on the exit ticket. Bye-bye.